Welcome to day 8 of the Christmas Advent Calendar podcast. And today I'm going to be joined by the lovely Parveen from Med Support Training Academy. And we're going to be diving into the topic of mental health. Now, with over 17 years of experience in the mental health field, Parveen has worked and owned businesses across a range of sectors, giving her a deep understanding of how mental health affects people in all walks of life. And today, she runs her own training academy where she helps businesses across the UK strengthen their approach to mental health in the workplace and mandatory health and social care training. She is passionate about breaking stigma, and Parveen sheds lights on topics such as high functioning anxiety, especially among high performing women, which is the topic of today's podcast, and how we can recognise the signs and how to prevent them. Parveen, welcome to the Christmas Advent Calendar podcast. And it is so lovely to have you in the studio on day 8.
Thank you so much, Lisa. It's been amazing to be invited to this, and I was super excited for it.
I think when I first met you over the summer at a really lovely event, our joint friend Siobhan, I definitely had to have you on. And it's so lovely that you can come here today. And I know that with today's podcast, we're going to be talking about mental health. It's a really important topic. It's something you're really, really passionate about as well, isn't it?
100%. I've been in the field for so long now that it's something that I'm so passionate about, and it's a growing issue. Whether you're a man or a female, it's a growing issue, and it's something that I really want to make sure people understand, and they know that having mental health, it's something that we all have.
Yeah.
We all have mental health. However, mental health illness is completely different, and that's something diagnosed. And since I would say 2020, we've noticed that a lot of individuals, mental health is not the healthiest of what it can be. It's dropped down, and there's several different reasons for it. However, being in business, I wanted to help other business people by talking about the high functioning anxiety, because it's something that not a lot of people know what it means. And the moment I say high functioning anxiety, everyone's like, oh, but I don't have that. Actually, a lot of us do, especially if we've got a business.
And do you know what? When you mentioned it, I myself put my hand up and I thought, I've got no idea what high functioning anxiety. I've heard of anxiety, but I've never heard of high functioning anxiety. So for the listeners listening to this, and obviously we're going to dive into this in today's podcast, what does high functioning anxiety mean?
So high functioning anxiety, it's not a clinical illness or a clinical diagnosis. It's rather a term used to describe people who experience anxiety internally but continue to function well. So in other words, these individuals may appear as calm, successful, well put together, but inside they're going through anxiety. And it's a different level of anxiety that would be a clinical diagnosis.
Okay, so for myself, let's take me as an example. I've got multiple businesses. I run at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I love business, but I could go on holiday and it would sometimes, 9 times out of 10, be very hard for me to switch off. And I'd always be thinking about business because I live and breathe it. Would you say I have high functioning anxiety?
Yes.
Now,
Okay, let me ask you a few questions.
Let's dive into this. I love this.
Right. So let's go back to when you're saying when you go on holiday. When you're on holiday, you're with your family, you're there to have a good time. You're by the beach or by the poolside. Sometimes there will be thoughts that come into your head. And would it be thoughts of, oh, I can't wait to get back because I need to do this, I need to do that. This time next year or this time next month, we need to be there. I need to make sure that my staff members are okay. Let me quickly go back on my phone, message this client or message my staff members, seeing how well they're doing. Do you do that?
I would say 50% to 60% of the time, yes, I do. I do. Yes.
So that is obviously a sign of high functioning anxiety. Now, having high functioning anxiety is neither good nor bad.
Okay.
And it's something that just exists, and it's something that we can use, and it's a tool for business owners and high performers to use for the
Okay.
better good. But if we don't know how to switch it off and when to switch it off, it can turn for the bad.
Okay, so how would people spot the signs for high functioning
Hmm.
anxiety? What would be maybe like the top 3 or 4 signs that you could give our listeners to say, okay, if you have these, this could
Yeah.
be related to high functioning anxiety?
So there's there's quite a few, and the list goes on. But the three that I wanted to go into would be perfectionism. That's
Okay.
one. Always being on edge and never being able to relax. That's number two. And
Okay.
number three, always overthinking.
Okay.
Number four, which is very, very important, always feeling you're not good enough or you're not doing well enough, or if you stop, you're going to fail.
Okay, yeah, that is a massive one, and one that I do see a lot within communities that I speak to as well. Women not feeling enough at all, which is really interesting, actually. Really interesting.
And
So, oh
high
yes, continue.
functioning anxiety, we don't just wake up one day and have it. It happens for many different reasons. And, one of the main reasons is it could be genetic. And this would be a conversation for a different day. But just to give
Yeah.
an idea, it could be genetic where someone in your family has had severe anxiety and it's passed down. It
Okay.
could also be from trauma, from bullying in the earlier years, from always not feeling good enough. And when I'm saying trauma, I don't mean trauma just to be the physical here. It could be emotional, it could be
Mhm.
physical, it could be mentally. And trauma happens in very small amounts throughout our lives that we don't realize. So, for example, when we're younger, there will always be competitions, right? For
Mm.
example, for sports day, there's always competitions and we want to win. It's fine to win. But then if you've got people in the background saying, you're always a winner, you've always won, you want to always keep that standard and hold that bar high. Then what happens throughout life? You've always got that standard, keeping that bar high. You've always got that standard, keeping that bar high. Anything you do in life, which is fine because we all want to be successful. This is why we've opened up a business. There's many different reasons why we want to have a career as a businesswoman or man.
Mm.
However, if we're holding on to what someone has said to us from when we were younger, it's still embedded in us. And if we don't know when to stop it and when to use it, it can consume a lot of our lives. And then it will get worse and worse, where our quality of life won't be there as much.
Oh
And it will
wow.
start affecting other aspects of our lives as well.
So with high functioning anxiety then, how do you manage it?
So, for example, let's go on to perfectionism. That's the
Okay.
easiest way I can explain it. And I think a lot of people who are in the business field, let's say, they want everything perfect. And it's
Mm.
amazing to have.
Yeah.
It's amazing to have. Um, However, with perfectionism, it always comes to where you're feeling on edge because you're thinking, right, but this isn't perfect. I can't go forward. I'm not going to go forward because this is not perfect. And when you're thinking that way and you're not going forward, what happens? You're not meeting your targets. You're not meeting your goals where you want to be. You're not meeting your own personal goals.
Yeah.
So then you work harder, you overwork, and then burnout happens. So it all
Mm.
goes hand in hand. Now, for us to be able to manage it, my main thing is plan your day, have a routine. And this is not just me saying it. A lot of scientists have found that people with anxiety, not just high functioning anxiety, but anxiety itself, if they've planned their day and they know what to expect tomorrow, it helps them. So, for example,
Okay.
it's always nice to have a morning routine. So before you go to work, I always say to people who I train in mental health, as well as what I'm going to say to our listeners, always know throughout the day, have several breaks. And these several breaks would be for you. When it's your break time and someone comes up to you and asks you to do something, this is another symptom of high functioning anxiety, is we're scared to say no because we don't want to let the person down. But then we're cramming in too much and our brain
Mm.
does not have time to slow down, recoup, and then think and then make better decisions. So,
Yeah.
starting off your day, when you wake up, spend 10 minutes. If you don't have half an hour to an hour, spend 10 minutes at least doing you, whether
Mm.
it's something you love doing, whether it's going for a walk, it's dancing around your kitchen with music on.
Kitchen
It's
disco.
yes, kitchen disco, or even a shower disco. I love shower
Yeah.
discos, especially in
Shower
the morning.
disco.
I put that shower on. I'm in the shower. I'm singing. I'm putting myself in a good mood, and
Yeah.
then naturally, I'm in a good mood for the whole day, and my emotional state and my mental state is ready to go.
Mm.
Then what you need to do is plan your day. As business people, we always have a lot on our to-do list. And when it comes to the end of the day, we don't know when to switch off because our to-do list
It's
keeps
never
going.
ending. Yeah.
Always. It's never ending. But the best way to do it is plan your first 3 important things to do. Do that first. Always do that first.
I love
And
this.
then
I love
prioritize.
this.
Yeah. And I always say prioritize as you go along. Because when
Uh-huh.
it comes to 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or whatever time you wish to finish, you know you've got majority done. The rest can wait. It can wait. And I say
Yeah.
that with emphasis because we all think, oh, but it's only going to take another half an hour to do this. No, 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 no. It can wait.
Yeah.
Finish the time you said you're going to finish. Now, some people, they work from home. So it's hard for them to switch off and go into home life. But then there's others who work in an office and still they're on the train, they're driving back and they're thinking about what have I done today? Have I finished it? Oh no, but I've got a big meeting tomorrow. And they start working themselves up about it.
Yeah.
Don't. So what you do, if you finish at 5 p.m., spend 15 to 20 minutes at the end of the day, clear out your desk, go through your to-do list and think, okay, I've done all of this. Now, the things that I've missed, let's put that on tomorrow's to-do list. Already plan your next day from then, before you
I love
even leave your
this.
desk, before you even leave your office. Because the moment you've left, you now can breathe because you're not always thinking about
Mm.
what do I have to do tomorrow? Because we always have a mental image of our to-do list and we're always adding on. Do that
Yeah.
and follow that through. And then when you get home, have a shower, do some deep breathing. And it's weird because a lot of people do not like the whole idea of deep breathing, but that actually releases a lot of stress from our
Mm.
body. So if you're not someone for deep breathing, a warm shower, a bit of conversation with your family members or your friends can do a world of good. Now,
Okay.
you'll notice I've not mentioned TV. I've not mentioned your phones. I've not mentioned social media. You need to slow down on that as well because
Okay.
social media and our phones are the biggest thing that helps us not to turn off.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. The blue light, the distractions, the scrolling.
And, let's just go on our phone. Let's quickly check our emails. Oh,
Uh,
let's quickly message this staff member or this colleague about this. No, 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 no. Stay
uh-huh.
away from it. This is an analogy that I use for a lot of people. A long time ago, in our parents' age or great granddads and grandmums' age, they used to be very big hard workers. They used to go out there, they used to graft, they used to be business people as well. But why was it so much easier for them to turn off when they get home? Because back then they never had emails. They never
Mm.
had phones that were compatible. Even me, when I was younger, all we had was a Nokia phone. We
Yeah,
were
that's so
unable
true.
to have WhatsApp then, right? We didn't have WhatsApp. We didn't have emails, nothing. So it was easier to turn off.
Yeah, absolutely. There was more
So
disconnection from society so that we could
exactly.
actually, I remember getting home from school and obviously we had the house phone. Internet was only really
Yes,
allowed at the weekend or maybe one evening of the week, but you were allowed to physically disconnect. You didn't see your friends till the next day. You had dinner with your family. You sat and,
exactly.
maybe watched a program or read a book, and then it was homework, and then it was bed. So there was a lot more space to breathe. And I think in this day and age, especially with after COVID, the walls have kind of come in on us a lot more, and there's no chance of escape, as I call it, or
100%.
disconnection.
Yes, there's no disconnection. And, it's only getting worse with the generations to come. So it's very important for us to learn this now so that we can teach future generations on how we were brought up. Because how we were
Yeah.
brought up actually was so much better because we could disconnect. And there was a lot more happiness there. We weren't bringing work home. Yes. I do agree. Some days are more stressful than others, and it's
Yeah.
really, really difficult not to bring that home. But have someone that you can talk to about it. Get that off your chest a
Mm.
little bit more. And then before you go to sleep, the good thing to do is this is when our subconscious actually kicks in. And when we're going to sleep, our subconscious kicks in and anxiety is at play here because that's when our body is thinking, this is what we have to do. This is my goal. I'm not hitting my goal. Although you are, and everyone is seeing you as a very successful person and you're on the right track. But to ourselves, we're not kind to ourselves. We want more. We want to do more. We try and reach too far up into the sky and it's not making us happy. And like I said, it's good to have high functioning anxiety because it helps you to stay successful. But use that while you're at work. Use that when you're doing your tasks at work, regardless what field you're in. Use that for them. Then learn to switch it off when you come home and when your working day is done. You can't keep mixing the two together because then our subconscious gets muddled up. It all becomes one. And our brain cannot
Yeah.
tell our heart when to stop, and our heart is feeling very anxious about it. And then our
Mm.
whole body goes down.
And then I suppose you get the burnout, you get the illness, you get sick, and that's also
Yeah.
really hard. So, obviously, when things do get hard and we are feeling overwhelmed and we are feeling like we can't manage in so many ways, what would
Hmm.
be your top tips for practicing self compassion? Because this is something that you were really warming towards and really hot on the topic about, taking a deep breath when it gets heavy and practicing self compassion. What would that look like for someone listening to this that may not really be into self care or looking after
Yes.
themselves?
Now, this opens up a bigger can of worms because we are all our own individuals. We
Yes.
all have our own way of dealing with things. But the first things first, with all of us, we need to get to know ourselves. We need to be in tune with our bodies, with our
Yeah.
minds, and when to stop. It's not
Mm.
that you wait for yourself to then have aches and pains and migraines and headaches to be like, oh, I'm overworking, let's stop. No, 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 no. Stop it from before. But it's all
Okay.
about being in tune with ourselves and getting to know ourselves better. I
Yeah.
mean, we run lives getting to know other people and knowing other people inside out. But have we ever stopped and thought, God, do I even know myself? Like, when was the last time actually I did something that truly made me happy and made me excel in life? Hardly ever, because we're always on that go, 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 go. We're on this train and we're going somewhere and we don't stop at a station to
Mm.
disembark, get rid of our baggage and jump back on. That's
Yeah,
another
absolutely.
analogy I love using. So, first things first is get to know yourself. Once
Okay.
you've gotten to know yourself, you will know the signs and symptoms that your body is showing you because it is very different for everyone. I can easily say for me, it's when I feel disconnected from everyone. So, because work is so much on my mind, I'm disconnected from other people. And when they're talking to me, I'm like, huh? Sorry. Oh, yeah. And I act like I'm listening to them, but it's gone through one ear and out the other. That's
Yeah.
one. Secondly, I'll start to get headaches and I will go to bed and my
Mm.
whole body is aching as though I've just done a workout,
Yeah.
right? But for everyone, it's not the same. Some people, they will feel themselves getting moody or grouchy, or they'll feel themselves feeling down, or they'll feel themselves secluding themselves from other people. That's when you stop and you think, right, no, I need to now look after myself, practice self compassion to myself, and I come first. You
Mm.
cannot help other people, including your business, if your glass is half full,
That is
right?
so
You cannot be going to do that.
that's so true. And it's something we talk a lot about when I coach and
Mm,
mentor women, that I always look at. You can have the best business strategies, but if you're not internally made up and looking after yourself from a soulful perspective, from a mindset, from a mental health, there is no business that's going to run effectively and properly. And I think in this day and age, I've seen a massive surgence of coaches coming together that can run very successful businesses and give business strategy led work, as well as mindset and soulfulness. And it's so important that we're looking after the two, because at the end of the day, our mental health is everything, isn't it?
Everything. And
Yeah.
this is the thing. There's so much big stigma about mental health, and
Yeah.
the word gets thrown around everywhere. So people are scared to mention mental health. Actually,
Mm.
we all have a physical health. We've all got emotional health, and we've all got a mental health. If you don't have a mental health, you don't have a brain, and that would be physically impossible to be alive without a brain. So we all have mental health. But mental health just means, are you 100% mentally healthy? Are you in the middle, or are you very low? And if we're not careful with certain things we do in life, we get very low. So
Mm.
that's all that mental health is. Mental health illness is completely separate, and that's diagnosed issues that if we're not looking after our mental health, we can easily go into that pattern with a mental health illness diagnosis there. But also, our body is all connected. Our physical health goes hand in hand with our emotional health and our mental health. If we are not looking after our physical side, but yet we're always working, our brain's always working, then your physical health drops down and your mental health goes up. It's
Mm.
unbalanced. If we're going through something emotionally that takes precedence, then the rest gets unbalanced. It's about rebalancing all of them so we're in line with each
Mm.
other. Then we're healthy and we're stronger. Because imagine, I'm holding my hand up here. This side here is mental health. This side here is your physical health. And you're going to the gym all the time, but you're not reading any books. You're not watching any documentaries, or you're not feeding your soul mentally. Your physical health goes up, mental health goes down. Then what happens is we've got a big gap. So whatever we're doing is just seeping through and falling out. Rather than it being like this, and whatever we're doing, we're elevating ourselves. We're going higher and higher and higher. That's the best way I can explain that. And hopefully the listeners can understand which way I'm
Yeah.
going with this. But for me, like I said, my main tip is self-compassion, is knowing your own self, your own body, and when to stop.
I love that. And I think obviously with businessmen and women listening to this over the Christmas period as well, and, you know, certainly from today, being able to, when you come out the back of Christmas, and Christmas can also be a really, really hard time for people. There can be a
Yeah.
lot of stress and pressure, and especially with running businesses or not having people around you or not having the support network. And going into January, I'm feeling a little deflated as well. So, what would you say coming out the back of Christmas and going into the new year to look after your mental health, to make sure that January is on point and you are literally running out of the trapdoors and you're like, yes, I'm soulful, I'm ready to go? Is there something people can be doing over Christmas to support that, to help them?
It's so strange that you've asked me this question because a few weeks ago, actually, I put out a newsletter about SAD. SAD is basically seasonal affective disorder.
Yeah,
And a lot
I've
of
heard of
people
this.
suffer from that.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of people suffer from that during the winter months because you're stepping out the house and it's dark. You're coming in the house, it's dark. It feels like you haven't had a day. And it feels like you can't fit in much in your day because we're so acclimatized to doing things when the sun is out and it's daytime,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, because obviously I'm giving this advice now, it's a bit too late for us to do the preventative measures now. But next year, of course, start doing preventative measures, which would be the same or similar to what I'm saying now. During Christmas, take out time for you.
Okay.
Christmas is a time that is meant to be family or friends. Now, many of us may not have families around us or friends around us, so take this time out for you.
Mm.
Do things that make you happy, whether it's being at home watching all the Christmas movies, or it's going on a little holiday, or it's going into nature and seeing something different. Do it for you.
Okay.
And don't just take one day out or 2 days out. Try and take at least a week off. so that you're regenerating your thoughts, you're regenerating your body. It's like as though we're putting ourselves on charge again, right?
I love
So we
that.
need a few days to get rid of the old and get rid of 2025, a few days to do things that we love, and a few days to hype ourselves up for 2026. So if you can take around a week off, that would be my best thing to do.
Mm.
And then that week, the few days that you're getting yourself ready for the next year is the days that you will now be planning your week ahead. So plan the first day when I go in, I'm going to be kinder to myself because I'm coming in after a break. I'm coming in after Christmas and New Year. Let's be kinder to myself. Let's sit down and go through everything I did in 2025. Now, when I say this, I don't mean go through everything you've done in 2025 where you didn't meet your own expectations, because remember, they are your own expectations. It's not what people see from you. People will see you as successful and people will see you doing well, see you being happy. That's important and that's done. So the main important thing is see the goals that you've met. See where you were before in 2024 and where you're at
Mm.
now at the end of 2025. Give yourself a pat on the back for that and say, yes, I'm there. Now, let's break down my goals into smaller bite size. Make them achievable for yourself. That's the kindest thing you
Absolutely.
can do to yourself.
Yeah.
Be achievable in your goals. Once you're achievable with your goals, you can then plan your weeks ahead and slowly pick up pace. But
Mm.
remember, when you're picking up pace, always make sure you've got a start time and a finish time. So then you're able to fit in your own personal lives around that without thinking about what's going on in work or what's going to happen in the next day.
I love that, Parveen. And obviously, before we go, what would be the last value or tip that you would want to leave our lovely followers and listeners listening to day 8 of the Advent Calendar Christmas podcast? What would that be?
So always remember, high functioning anxiety often hides behind success. We
Okay.
get so used to keeping it together and pushing through that slowing down can sometimes feel unnatural or wrong, so to speak, but it really isn't. And my message to all of our listeners is don't measure your worth by how much you do or how perfectly you do it. Practice self-compassion. Take a breath when things get heavy and remember you can still be high achieving and take things at your own pace.
Love that. I absolutely love that. And I think so many women and men are going to resonate with this today,
I
um,
hope
i-
so.
in this Advent Calendar podcast, because I think it's something that's so close to every single person's heart with their mental health, their mindset, what's going on internally, and how people can always look to make their internal state, their soulful state, and their mental health better. So, yes, lots of
Yeah.
self care, time for themselves, time out, structure, planning, and there is always tomorrow.
100%. I love that as well. There is always tomorrow.
Yeah, always. Oh,
Don't
Parveen.
define your future with what's happened in your past.
Oh,
There's
I love
always
that.
tomorrow where you can redo. So I really hope that this conversation has helped many people out there because it's something that we all have and we really do not know we have it up
Mm.
until it's too late. So I really hope that it's been valuable to everyone.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for joining me on day 8 of the
Thank you so much
Christmas
for
Advent
having
Calendar
me.
podcast. It's been so lovely to have you on.
Thank you, Lisa. I was super excited to do this, and you've been an amazing host. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. So, for any of our followers or listeners, if you want to know more about Parveen, what Parveen does, and to get in touch with Parveen, then all of her details are in the show notes below. Thank you so much for tuning into today's podcast and join me on day 9 tomorrow, where we're back with another powerful conversation. Take care. Bye.